Announced they will be teaming up with far-right groups like Hillsdale College, the Heritage Foundation, and Turning Point USA to create a patriotic civics curriculum that will then be forced in public schools. I want to be very clear. They are creating propaganda for youth that will lie about the history of the United States to align with the Christian nationalist ideas of American exceptionalism and white supremacy. There has never been a more important time than now than to have hard copies of comprehensive history in your house. And I happen to have some recommendations. We're going to start with Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States. This also comes in a youth version. Be talking to your kids about what actually happened in our nation. Tell them the truth. A True History of the United States by Daniel Jerson, which really focuses on indigenous relations, slavery, as well as how we militarized capitalism and imperialism. Let's talk about the Humanity Archive by Jermaine Fowler, recovering the Black history in the United States that's been largely removed. The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, which talks about how the U.S. government has intentionally institutionalized systemic racism to create segregation. The 1619 Project will change your perspective on how central slavery is to the narrative of the United States, not something to be glossed over. The most comprehensive book I have ever read on America's history of separation of church and state that is more than ever so important right now by Richard Ballmer. If you want to know the history of Christian nationalists, The Power Worshippers by Catherine Stewart. We're going to address the Christian nationalist myth of this being a Christian nation, the founding myth by Andrew Seidel, and then the history of the family, also known as the Fellowship, who run the National Prayer Breakfast and are the reason that we are here where we are now. There is also a documentary on Netflix, and The Longest Con by Joe Conason, covering the history of corruption on the right, following all the way from Joseph McCarthy until now. Follow the money. Make sure you have a copy of these books in your home. Talk to your kids about these topics. Build a library. Share a library with people you know, because education is our